Hi, this is Felice Sloan with Swanky Maven.
I'm David Leftwich, editor of Edible Houston and associate editor at Houston Food Finder.
I'm Eric Sandler, food editor for Culture Bound.
Well, this week, we know who won't be starting. That will be me, because we're going to let it kick off with our official pizza guy. Eric, over to you.
You know, Felice, I accept your categorization of me. It's true. I am a pizza guy. I'll be upfront and honest about that.
Look, me and David are your guests this week, right? Like, you throw it to us, and then we'll fill in the gaps, okay?
Well, it's so funny, and I don't want to dwell on this too much, but Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports, famously rates pizzas all over the country, all over the world. And he came to Houston. He tried a few places, and he was like, not a pizza town. And look, I'm not gonna pick a fight with Dave Portnoy, who has millions of followers, but I disagree, right? I think we actually have pretty good pizza here.
Yeah.
And what I like about pizza in Houston is we cover a range of styles, and really there's so much new pizza that's opened in the last couple of years that and I mean no disrespect to the institutions, right? Brothers, Romano's, Star. But if those are the only places you're eating pizza, you are missing out on some really, really great pies.
Now, so what I hear you saying is the pizza in Houston reflects Houston. It's diverse, it gives you range and depth, and there's something for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think whatever your taste, deep dish, thin crust, New York style, Detroit, Neapolitan, Indian fusion, like whatever you want, we got you covered.
And I think pizza in Houston continues to get better, because I was just thinking back to some of our one of the earliest episodes we did was on pizza. And I think of how many more places there are to talk about now than there have been over the years, and that's why we have to keep redoing pizza every couple of years.
I wouldn't say I'm a pizza person. However, hanging out with Eric helps me stretch my horizons. I'm going to you want a slice? Let's go brothers. But now if I were with Eric, though, he would say, let's go to Home Slice, right? Like the place out of Austin that's giving you cool slices, but putting a stank on it, right? Like they doing the thing.
Yeah, it's like I like Home Slice. I think it's got that East Coast feel to it. And you can get some of the classics, right? You want pepperoni and mushroom, they do that. But they also do a white pie with clams on it. And that's that kind of New Haven, New England kind of thing. You don't see that as often. So they can kind of go high-low. And you know me, I'm a sucker for a meatball sub. And they have an absolutely killer meatball sub. Since we're starting with one new spot, right? Home Slice has been open for less than a year. I want to talk about Nono's Family Pizza Tavern. This is the new Chicago-style pizza restaurant from the team behind Nobi's, Martin and Sarah Stayer. It's got its major Gen X nostalgia vibes, right? Like the carpet on the walls, the vintage arcade where you can play Rampage and Cruisin' and Pinball. And this tavern-style pizza, it's thin. They cut it into squares so it's easy to share. And then they have all the things that you want a pizzeria to have, right? Draft beer, mozzarella sticks, chicken wings. It's a very cool, very fun
It's Pizza
retro
Hut.
pizzeria.
It's Pizza Hut with better pizza. That's
Right.
that's kind of the vibe. And it's a fun Gen X,
Yeah, 80s, 90s.
80s kind of vibe to it. Well, since we're talking about new places, a new place that's opened very recently is El Rose Pizza and Crudo. It's from Terrence Gallivan, who people will know from The Passion Provision, and it's a fun spot. It's a very kind of elegant but casual vibe.
It's very Montrose. It's a converted house, like old school, teeny tiny, 50 seats, I think.
Great wallpaper.
Yeah, really colorful wallpaper.
But also great pizzas. They have, also, the crudos and other things are good, but he's got really good pizza. Like, I really like, there's a guanciale pie. It's got guanciale and these caramelized onions, and it's like this kind of perfect mix of salty and sweet and really comes together. His quality of food is always very high, so.
Yeah, and really, really fun cocktails too. A good, very affordable wine list. I've been to El Ro 3 or 4 times since it opened. I've really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna throw a new one out pretty close to here, and it's a vegan pizza place. It's Meek's Vegan Pizza, and if you're a Tabitha Brown fan, whenever she comes in town, she always hits up our vegan spots, black-owned vegan, places, and that place has been getting a lot of buzz because it's like, again, it's just a classic pizza place, so it's not a scene, but they're doing their take on vegan pizzas. They have one, it's called the Mexican Connection, and they're doing, it has like the jalapenos, chorizo, but it has, it's a vegan pea. Like, that's where they're getting that from, and then you get the vegan mozzarella. So their take on pizzas, you're not missing the meat. I'll say that. You don't miss the meat. So that's a good one to add to your list.
Another new place I want to talk about is Neighbors Social Club and Wine Bar. This is formerly known as How to Survive on Land and Sea on Harrisburg Street. It's Angelo Emiliani is making New York style pizzas there. Now, we met Angelo in 2020 when he moved back to Houston from LA. He was making kind of neo-Neapolitan wood-fired pies in the style of his mentor, Chris Bianco. Maybe the most famous pizzaiolo in America. He's been on Netflix. If you love pizza, you know who Chris Bianco is. But so he's doing, so instead of the wood-fired pies, he's doing kind of a bigger New York. You can get it by the slice. He does cheese, he does pepperoni. And then, to steal a line from Felice, he puts his stank on it by like going to the farmer's market and finding like fun seasonal ingredients. So you never quite know what you're going to get when you go to Neighbors. But I just like how casual it is. $5-6 slices. Get a beer, get a glass of wine. It's a $15 dinner. It's just so simple. It's really elegant in that sense.
Well, we've been talking about some new places, but I want to talk about a place that's become a classic, and that's Bizarro's. They have two locations, one out on I-10 on the west side of town, and then one in Montrose on West Gray. And again, that's classic, some classic Neapolitan style pizzas, some really good ones like a classic margherita, and then like the Sfino, which is a white pie with this kind of fennel flavored salami, garlic, goat cheese, mozzarella. But they also do a Detroit style and New York style pizzas, and they've been doing it for several.
Like more than a decade at this point.
I'm Team Detroit. When I go there, I do particularly the tomato pie, right? And then if we would be remiss to tell them not to ask for a side of hot honey. I do that with the pepperoni. Yeah, the Detroit style pepperoni. If you wanted to know, that's how I order it.
And I will tell you, they do a gluten-free version of that Detroit crust. So for all our gluten-free friends out there, that is a possibility. If we're talking about Detroit pizza, we have to talk about Anthony Callio, who's one of the owners of Rudyard's. We know him from Pie Pizza, which was a food truck and then a restaurant. And then Anthony's working on a new restaurant called Gold Tooth Tony's. He's had a few pop-ups, but it's opening very soon on 19th Street in the Heights. It's basically like a to-go style, but it's kind of the inventiveness that he had at Pie with the Detroit dough that he's been making for a few years at Rudyard's. I'm very, very excited about Gold Tooth Tony's.
Yeah, I think that's going to be exciting because everything he does is good. And
good.
You mentioned Rudyard's, and he is doing good classic bar pizza there at Rudyard's, so it's worth checking that out. If you're in the mood for a good bar pizza.
Well, you know what? I got to give some love to the classics that we love because Cultivare, we love it for everything, but their pizza. Just a classic, the classic pizzas, but I always get the seafood pizza with the shrimp and the calamari, and that's really a classic there too, right? Because it's so good, but they do good seasonal pizzas because with all the veggies and whatever seasonal.
Yeah, they have right now I think they have a one with like squash and basil pesto and smoked mozzarella. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah, Cultivar is kind of in that category of restaurants that make pizza, but they're not really pizzerias, right? And so I think about, Ostia in Montrose, which is an Italian restaurant, and I go there for their incredible roast chicken and their house-made pastas. But if you go at lunch, or you go on Sundays for dinner, wood-fired pies, like, with a really nice crust. And then the other one to talk about, I'm going to poach this from David, is Tiny Champions, which is from the Nancy's Hustle people. That kind of thin, crispy. Like I had an incredibly, you talk about a shrimp pie, an incredibly delicious, spicy shrimp pie there a couple of months ago.
Yeah, you did poach that one for me. But see, I was gonna throw it out to you though. Is that a restaurant or a pizzeria?
It is right on the line. But what I like about Tiny Champions is you can definitely go and just get pizza. And if you do, I suggest getting those cold sliced mushrooms with the Parmesan and just adding that on top of whatever pizza you order. That's my little Tiny Champions menu
Like
app.
their mixed
But-
greens pizza.
But you can also not get pizza. You can get the braised beans. You can get the whatever like smart vegetable sides they're working on. You can get the pastas and never eat pizza. So like I said, I think it is pizza focused, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a pizzeria.
And now that the temperatures dropped 3 degrees and under 100, it's got a great patio. It's got one of the better patios in Houston.
So you know what? I'm going to do a combo because it's a combo because they're kind of brothers. That gives me nostalgic. If I want a New York slice, nostalgic, old school, put me in my feels, I'm going to Brothers. I'm getting a piece of pepperoni, like a slice of pepperoni. But I wanted to throw out there breakfast pizza, Love Buzz, Wake and Bake, eggs, bacon, hash browns. I'm all about it.
Yeah, and if you've never actually been to the restaurant, it's got all this like 90s kitchen in it. It's got skee ball. It's got really great cocktails. It's open late. Love Buzz is a lot of fun.
All right, so there's lots of options that I'm leaving on the table, but let's throw out the Gypsy Poet.
Yes, thank you.
If you hadn't, I was
Thank
going to.
you. Thank you.
They have 2 locations. They have one kind of on the east side, and they just recently opened one in the Heights at 11th and Studwood. Both are great, casual, kind of artsy environment, good pizza, just kind of a fun place to hang out. If you go to the Heights one, you probably need to go early because there's always a line out the door, it seems like, especially on weekends. It's, a fun place to go with families. But that's always a fun pizza place, and they have good
Look,
pies.
Team pepperoni madness. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have one of the better pepperoni.
All right. Last one from me is kind of a sneak peek. Via 313, the very acclaimed Detroit-style pizzeria from Austin, is coming soon. They're going to open in the Memorial City area. Felice, you and I went there several years ago. It's just like, for as much as I like the Detroit-style pies at Pizarro's and what Anthony's doing, like, this is the gold standard of Detroit-style pizza in Texas. And it is going to be an absolute monster when it opens here.
Hi, this is Felice Sloan with Swanky Maven.
I'm David Leftwich, editor of Edible Houston and associate editor at Houston Food Finder.
I'm Eric Sandler, food editor for Culture Map, and you're listening to Houston Matters with Craig Cohen.